protect my daughter, I kept her inside a tiny purification pod. Every day, I delivered supplies from a distance. I never dared get too close. She could only breathe filtered air. Then one day, the pod suddenly lit up through the glass. We saw yellow fumes pouring into the streets. They were blasting out of the sewers. Anyone who breathed them in dropped to the ground. Before I could react, a much larger cloud rolled in. The entire street fell into chaos. I ran home as fast as I could. After I got back, she noticed the gas was seeping through the cracks. My daughter was protected by the pod. I switched it to power saving mode, and then I evacuated with my wife. The toxic cloud kept rising. We had no choice but to move higher. We made it to the rooftop. The people there took us in. She asked about our daughter. When she heard the girl was safe, we finally felt some relief. Then we stepped onto the balcony and froze. I climbed onto the roof. The entire city had been swallowed by the toxic cloud. It had also caused a citywide blackout. My daughter was still safe for now, but the backup battery would never last the night. I decided to go down and find a replacement battery. I tested the toxic cloud. It had no smell, but it was deadly. And then I remembered the neighbor downstairs always kept oxygen tanks for my daughter. I climbed down the drain pipe. Before entering the cloud, I took one deep breath. I held it in and rushed toward the apartment. After smashing a window, I climbed inside, only to find he had already passed away. I found an oxygen tank in the corner. I quickly put on the mask and opened the valve. I got oxygen at the very last second. After recovering, I grabbed a spare tank too and headed home. I successfully replaced the battery and brought back supplies. When I returned, the toxic cloud had risen even higher. If we stayed, before it got us, we had to leave. But my daughter could only leave the pod if she had a spacesuit. We risked everything and headed to a laboratory to find one. We quickly located the suit, but the moment we picked up the case and turned to leave, the lab suddenly exploded. I don't know how much time passed. Before we woke up, I discovered the oxygen line was broken. Now we only had one tank left. We had to take turns using it, dragging the heavy spacesuit. We struggled back. After finally reaching the rooftop, the oxygen was almost gone. I decided my wife should go first. She knew, without oxygen, I was almost certainly done for. But when she thought of our daughter, she left in tears. To save oxygen, she ran the entire way, but the tank eventually ran dry. She removed the mask, held her breath, and dragged the case upward. In the end, she made it back, but what she saw left her completely hopeless. The spacesuit had a hole burned through it. Every bit of hope was destroyed in an instant while waiting for news from me. She noticed the battery was about to die. She looked at the toxic cloud, took a deep breath, and rushed in without hesitation. She saw her mother, without a mask. My daughter was on the verge of tears, but she had no time to explain. She quickly installed the spare battery and watched the system restart. But before leaving, she stared at her daughter. Even as her daughter urged her to go, she couldn't bring herself to leave.